Oh yes, you're welcome to a fresh edition of your program, our program Summit. My name is Banji Busari and I'm glad to be here. Today is Wednesday, is the midweek edition of the program, and you'll be wondering, where is Jumoke? Jumoke is very much working in the field, and you can be sure that she will join us next episode. You are welcome. Today is also a very important one in the history of the program, because we are touching on a very sensitive, very vital, and you may say controversial issue of the recent signature of the federal government appended to the Samoa agreement. Of course, it's done with the EU, and Nigeria was not alone. Of course, Nigeria is a member of the African, Caribbean, and Pacific nations that co-joined, 72 of them that co-joined in the signing of that agreement. And according to federal government, the agreement was to enhance the economic status of the member states, among other issues. And for Nigeria, it's going to actually bring in the immediate times a sum of 150 million naira. That is to enhance, to boost our economy. You and I know what the nation is passing through. That's our focus on the program today. What are the attendant effects of that signature appended by the federal government? You know, we don't do it alone on this program. We have well-informed, seasoned, and very knowledgeable analysts on this program who help us dissect the issues as they should be. So, on that note, I'm actually bringing on board our revered son, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. I'm talking about no other person but our friend and our partner on the program, Dr. Adekunle Ojo, former Vice President, MBA, also SAN.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you on this
edition of the program. My pleasure to be with you this day. I'm happy to be part of the program today.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, let's put issues in a perspective. The Samoa agreement came to Nigerians as a kind of what you may call a rude shock based on the reports. The report came out of course, the agreement itself was not too known to the Nigerians. But the reactions that trailed it, particularly the report by Daily Trust, actually informed Nigerians that the agreement had serious implications on the lifestyle of Nigerians. Don't forget that Nigeria has a bill, a law prohibiting lesbian, gay, and transgender issues. But this agreement that was signed recently was said to kind of nullify that law, our Nigerian law. So Nigerians are very, let me say, annoyed, and they believe federal government shouldn't have signed. They're calling federal government to revoke, to withdraw, and then to discontinue that agreement. There have been reactions from the government. But first and foremost, let us put it in perspective. What's this agreement all about? What do you understand by the agreement?
Well, let me start by, because if we just go to what the agreement is all about, then
you may spend the whole day.
We owe a duty to douse the tension in the country as we speak now. It is unfortunate that Daily Trust, a newspaper based in the north, made that publication, but the beauty of it is that this morning I am aware that they have apologized to the government, that they misrepresented the story. And to that extent, then I should be able to place the blame on the doorstep of the Minister for Information,
Mohammed Idris.
Yeah, because it's like we don't get to hear from you. You react often. And if we don't get to hear from the government directly, then definitely you are the cause of the entire crisis. If we are not aware of what Samoa agreement is through you, Then you give room for distortions everywhere. You give room for rumor peddlers to just put A and B together and say that's about that. I would say
the reaction actually told us that the signature, this agreement, is in the interest of Nigerians.
Yes.
That they will never do anything to hurt.
Yes, that is more reason. In fact, we actually need to understand how we arrived, how the government or the system arrived at the Samoa agreement. There was Cotonou agreement, sometimes in year 2000. That was the beginning of all these things that we're talking about. And it was basically by the Organization of African Nations, Pacific, and Caribbean nations. They were trying to get together to push certain things. Then the EU came in and said, yes, we want to be part of it. And you know, EU, they are 27. And they act together. They act in unison. They look at a lot of things and say, okay, how do we get out of all of this? What do we do about it? They advance. You know, there are problems in the entire world, whether we like it or not. We have our problems back home, but our problems should not becloud our sense of reasoning. Now, if we talk about illegal immigrants, it's affecting EU, isn't it?
It is.
And most of these illegal migrants comes from Africa and the Caribbean nation and the Pacific nations. So basically, they need to, it is, when government comes out and says it is in our interest, I keep wondering, how does it benefit us? How does it benefit us? These people, they have their problems and they want to abate the problems. They want to checkmate some of the crises. In the process of doing that, they now bring in some economic incentives. They bring in some economic perspective to it. Okay, if we do this, it will work like this. But basically, the reason they are doing this is to cross-check, to checkmate certain problems that is confronting them. One of it is this immigrant of a thing. Then, and you know, they won't come out to say, you know, European nations, they are quite knowledgeable. They won't come out to say that is exactly what we intend to do. I've heard it that somebody said they are going to give federal government $150 million. How many people are you going to give $150 million? We have about 179 countries of the Organization of African Nations, Pacific and Caribbean.
72 of them.
We have about 72 assigned. The total membership is 79. Now, you now go to EU itself, they are about 27. So where do you get this money from? And you imagine that this body that we are talking about, America is not part of them. They are the printers of dollar. They are the printers of the world currency. They can print for anybody and just give it out. But without America being there, I do not see how 150 million or whatever dollars or billion dollars will come to any country. So, and look, I flipped through what is considered as this agreement. I cannot see that in it. The issue of originally, it is good for us to be circumspect. It is good for us to look at issues the way it should be looked at. The reason Nigeria did not sign this agreement in year 2023 was because there was a clause for sexual orientation and gender identity. That is the subtle way of bringing in this LGBT of a thing. Yes. That is the language, that is the international language that they use. Sexual orientation and gender identity. That is the way they bring it in. When this came up, Nigeria and about 37 other countries said, no, we are not going to be part of it. That is 2023. These are these are things that we need to be well informed of. Nigeria said we are not going to sign it except that is yanked off. The European country went by, they looked at it, they removed it. That is the bitter truth. So it's not like this rumor is not coming from, this rumor is, yes, it's a rumor. It's not laid on firm ground, but basically there was an history, there was a story, there was a perspective that people are capitalizing on. Originally, the agreement contained issues of sexual orientation and gender identity. Samoa as a country, Samoa is a country as we speak today, has an anti-LGBT law. In fact, they call it sodomy. Just like Nigeria has our same-sex prohibition act. About most of the countries, in fact, some Islamic countries have signed. Somalia has signed. Sudan has signed. There are several other Islamic countries who prohibit same-sex marriage that have signed. By signing this, it's because all those things that we are talking about, thank God for newspaper publications like Punch, they say it's not there. I've flipped through it. I've read through it. The 172 articles. I've read through. There is nothing containing same-sex marriage in it. What they used to have had it, but they have removed it. That's the truth. And if you imagine Samoa itself, almost all this, and basically let us ask ourselves this question.
Prior to the time it was removed, sir, it was said that even countries that signed, that there was no law binding them to actually honor or maybe to implement that aspect.
No, it's not. It's not even about law binding them. It's not about law not binding them. It is immoral for a country to sign what you think will not be good for your people. So it's not about signing it and not making it of effect. I know for sure that for any law to be binding on Nigeria, pursuant to Section 12 of the Constitution, it has to be ratified. Okay. It has to go before the National Assembly. Otherwise, your signing it amounts to nothing. But the truth is that you have a moral body. The moment you sign an agreement or an instrument, you have a moral body to have it. Why did you sign it? Were you blindfolded? So, but the truth is that I can tell you that about 37 countries that are opposed to same-sex marriage, they have signed it. A good number of them, Islamic Mauritania, a lot of Islamic countries, even including South Africa must be out of it now because they used to be part of this organization. I think they have opted out for some other reasons, and they signed already. Is it binding on them? No. So I think basically we should look at it from the perspective of what has happened and what did not happen, and we should stop peddling rumors. I know we have problems in Nigeria. We have problems. We have so many things agitating our mind. We have so many reasons to not to be happy with the government.
The federal government.
We shouldn't be lying. We shouldn't foment trouble just for sake of doing it.
The federal government has come out and said that the publication was reckless, misinforming, and it was bereft of professionalism.
It was more than reckless.
They, just like you said, Daily Trust Management has come out to apologize to federal government that it was wrong. For Nigerians, the issue is still very much out there.
Yes.
The controversy has not abated. Now, the information there is that federal government has signed, and in no time, the same-sex marriages act will be reversed.
It's a lie.
How do you see the damage seems to have been done? So what do you think can be done to actually ameliorate?
Number one, I think the government should go out. All the state governments should go out. Use the apparatus of government to reach out to the people. You know, bad news, once it goes out, to bring it back might be a bit difficult. And you know, we're sensitive people. We pretend to be religious while we are not. That's the truth. Because a good number of people that have started fomenting trouble in the north, they say, oh, we don't want it. A good number of them are into that practice. That's the truth. I'm saying, you see, because for the first time, the first time I was to see a man who dressed like a woman, it was in the north. I'm telling you the bitter truth. In fact, when it was not even common down south here. So people should stop this pretense. We should just stop this pretense. That's the truth. Nothing has happened. That law, that agreement that was signed by one the ambassador representing Nigeria in Belgium or whatever, it was signed by an ambassador. And as far as I'm concerned, for it to become valid and validated and be used and be applicable in Nigeria, it needs to be presented before the Federal Executive Council. It needs to be presented before the National Executive Council, not even national. It's a mere agreement. So, but having said that much, it is not a law that can override our Same-Sex Prohibition Act of 2014. So we should hold that. And basically, for a law, for an agreement cannot have an overriding effect on a law. That's the truth. Our law says we don't have that. So assuming the agreement even contains what they are talking about, but it doesn't contain it, that's the truth. It doesn't contain same-sex thing. Originally, there was an allusion made to import that kind of a thing into it. And you know, it's subtle. Thank God for brilliant people. Thank God for brilliant government functionaries who look at it, who eschew it, because it will look quite deceptive. Somebody is talking about sexual orientation. It doesn't look quite offensive. Somebody is talking about gender, whatever. It doesn't look too, you understand? Because they will not bring this LGBT of a
lesbianism.
They won't bring it in. But even at that, the secret or the underlying factor was detected, and Nigeria rejected it. When it was rejected by Nigeria, did people go out to say, this is what we have done, this is what we have not done? It happened last year. I think it's done in this same administration. If it was rejected, I think it should be July 2023 or thereabout, if my information is correct. So if it was rejected then because of what appeared like an importation of LGBT, when you call it sexual orientation and gender identity, gender identity. That was the language used. And all those languages that we are talking about as we speak now has been removed from it before it was signed by Nigeria, Samoa, and several other, Somalia, Sudan, several other countries of Africa. Even Uganda. You know, Uganda is quite, Uganda appears to be one of the leading countries in Africa against same-sex marriage. As good, I mean, whatever you want to say about Museveni, he fought that out. So even in Uganda, if it is done now, in Nigeria as we speak now, in some parts of the country, the punishment is death. Especially in the northern part of the country, because the penal code contains it. If you go to Uganda, that is the position in their laws. So Samoa agreement, as we speak now, quote me anyway, it does not contain anything like one.
And it's not injurious.
It's not injurious.
And it's not against the interest of Nigerians.
At all.
Now let's look at, they say perception is sometimes strong.
Yeah, it is.
Much stronger than even reality itself. Yeah. If you cast your mind back, a couple of decades ago during the reign of a former military dictator, Ibrahim Babangida, when Nigeria joined OIC organization, I mean, the controversy could be likened to what we are currently experiencing now. Yeah. Even though there has not been any harm from joining that OIC, the perception is still that, Nigeria is being subjected to Islamic laws and all of that. Yeah. Now, with this, the perception is very much strong out there. Yeah. The federal government is more or less concentrating on probably dealing with the perpetrators and those who founded that rumor. But for Nigerians, what can be done to actually ensure that the issue is abated?
Well, for Nigerians, what can be done is for people that are enlightened, let them stop misleading people that are not. I had a friend, he spoke this morning in one of the radio stations. Somebody I have so much tremendous respect for, somebody who has been in the trenches for so long, and he was embellishing these lies, this falsehood. He was saying
even after Daily Trust has come out openly.
Even after the commentator told him, or the presenter told him that, look, Daily Trust has apologized. He said it doesn't matter, maybe they have collected money. Why do we do this to ourselves? I may not like you, but I shouldn't like. I shouldn't call you a white man when I know fully well that you are dark in complexion. I should be able to present you the way you are. Even I may not have my preference for you. So you may not like the government, you may not, but you shouldn't lie. Why are we fomenting trouble? And at a point, my friend said, what is happening in Kano is a child's play. By the time they start what?
What's happening in Kenya, rather?
No, they are already rioting. They rioted in Kano yesterday. There was a skirmish in Kano over these
controversial
LGBT.
Yes,
because basically some of these boys, because they have been deliberately pauperized, they have been deliberately kept under the Almajiri system so that they can remain uninformed forever. So all that imagine they will ask, why are you fighting? They don't even know. Ask them to explain. They don't even understand what is going on. Or that their leader in the mosque or their leader in the church, let me put it to be balanced, tell them this is same-sex marriage. We don't want it. They don't even understand what is Samoa agreement. They have never heard of it before. And I think what we need to do is this.
Okay.
That is my joy in our going back to this our old national anthem. We should love ourselves. We should appreciate what is good. We should stop lying. We should stop falsehood. If you don't like this government, go and vote against them when the election comes. If you like them, vote for them when the election comes. But if you destroy this roof under which all of us take shelter, then definitely we are going to have problems. We are going to have problems. We won't be where we are now if not for the incursion of the military into our. We won't be where we are. The military have taught our civilians a lot of things, and part of these things that they are doing today, they were being taught by the military. How do you enrich yourself at the expense of the people? The morals were, you understand? So I think basically we should just allow whatever. We should not celebrate disinformation. That's the truth. And the government should do more than what they are doing. The man in the saddle of Ministry of Information and National Orientation, the man should do more. Doing nothing. He has done nothing. He has not done anything in propagating, in disseminating information.
Being proactive.
Yes, being proactive. There is nothing wrong. Even the Samoa government, agreement should have been, we should have heard of it first from the government, not from Daily Trust.
Now, do you see a hand of the opposition in all of this? You just spoke about the need for us to love one another and be united as a nation, because the nation must stand for development to actually. Do you see a hand of the opposition?
In all fairness, I cannot see the hand of any opposition in all of this, but I can see the hands of disgruntled Nigerians. And in all fairness with you, we have enough reasons, Nigerians have enough reasons not to be happy as we speak. But then we should not misplace our aggression. We should not misplace we should not vent our anger using a wrong perspective, wrong venom. We shouldn't do. We cannot cut off the head because we have
cut the nose before because we want to spite his face.
The face. You don't have to do that. So all of this, we should still be civil. We should still be Nigerians the way we are. Things are as bad. The way things are in Nigeria, it is even worse in several other countries of the world. I think there is a global recession as we speak now, except we are deceiving ourselves. We are facing it here in Nigeria. Let the government do whatever they can do to make people happy. That's the truth. A lot of people that are coming out to say this, it is the only, they are looking for everything. They are looking for every excuse to castigate this government.
The government
should do more. Yeah.
Government should do more. The same government is almost at its wit's end, looking for solutions, desperately seeking solutions to our economic problems. Do you see this as maybe a kind of bit? I mean, being desperate, looking for money even where maybe one should have actually exercised caution. Should we have gone to this because of the attendant consequences of a partnership with this Samoa and all of that?
In all fairness with you, in all fairness with Nigerians outside there, it is not every agreement that is beneficial.
Okay.
We sign some agreement under the guise that they are innocuous, and at the end of the day, we should be able, because if you look at it very well, the entire thing started from the Cotonou Agreement, and it was the African and these Pacific and Caribbean countries that engineered the process in the first instance. It was hijacked by the 27 EU states, and EU states are now trying to dictate the pace. Then the question that we need to ask ourselves, are we not knowledgeable enough to initiate programs that will benefit Africa? Must all ideas be generated from the EU or generated from America? By now, we should be exporting our ideas to them. So this idea of we are poor, we need money, we need help, is the reason why we sign any
available
thing. That's the truth. Because as we speak now, personally, I've not seen how this agreement will benefit Nigeria. Though I confirm.
You do not think that $150 million
it's not, there is no $150 million in the agreement.
Oh, really?
As we speak, there is no $150 million. Who gives that kind of money anyhow? To which country? Under what guise?
So it's still another rumor.
It's another rumor.
The aspect of the money is another rumor.
There's nothing like that.
So what's the immediate gains for us as a nation? Where does the interest that the federal government is quoting, where does it lie in that agreement?
Even the federal government itself, they have not been able to pinpoint the benefits that Nigeria would derive from this agreement. But I would rather say that the European country will benefit more. One of the primary benefits they will have is on these issues of immigration. Illegal immigrants, how do we checkmate them? How do you understand me? How do we reconcile our interests with the interests of the two bodies that are signing the agreement and all whatnot? So personally, I have not seen how this agreement will benefit Nigeria. I have not also seen how this agreement will be of a demerit to Nigeria. I've not seen how it will undo our integrity. I've not seen how it affects our conscience or any law in the land. And I've not seen where same-sex marriage was legitimated there, was validated there. So all of this rumor should be discountenanced. That's the truth. There was one which $150 billion will be coming to you on a platter of
$1 million, not billion.
And also, when you imagine that World Bank is not involved, then you don't get to see that kind of money.
You don't get to see that kind of money.
World Bank is not involved. So where do you get the money from? America is not involved. Dollar is the world currency is denominated by American dollar. So apparently, that's why America can never be bankrupt. They just go to the press, they just print. They print. When they have issues, they print. Because that is the world currency. You cannot print. If you print, you are on your own. You print your naira will be measured against the strength of your naira will be measured against that of dollar. So apparently, America, without them being involved in this, it's not happening.
Nigeria seems to be at the edge. I mean, Nigerians now, anything could spark. Something similar to what you saw 3-4 years ago in the EndSARS protest. Now, the way I want us to look at this is this. The media, what role would you advise us to play in these critical times? Of course, you may say, sorry, I was wrong. But what about the effects of the damage already? For Nigerians who are already, pushed to the wall. So the responsibility when it comes to the media work.
Well,
what's your advice?
I think the media practitioners need to be more informed, because like the man that I had this morning, who interviewed somebody who was supposed to be knowledgeable, but unfortunately he was somewhere else. He doesn't even seem to appreciate that is the presenter himself. His understanding of the Samoa agreement was
very shallow.
And if you don't understand as much as you should, then you have a guest that will bamboozle you unnecessarily. But then if you
push for a negative agenda to the public out there,
you put off a negative scenario, a negative things that never happen. So just like I said this morning, but then we should still give it to the private media. You have done pretty well, that's the truth. Because my first information about the fact that this thing was not contained in the agreement, I read it from Punch.
Good.
That really angered me the more. That really incited me the more on a need to flip through the entire agreement. And I looked at it myself and I found out it's not there. The idea of 150 million is not there. Which money are we talking about? And somebody even said, in fact, in the one that I had this morning, my friend was even saying that they say they are going to make an agreement, they will give 50,000 naira to each family. Aha! In this same agreement, in this same Samoa. So I think
it's all issue of lies.
Lies. So I think basically we should do more than what we are doing, but on a fair note, the private media organizations have even done better than the government-owned
media.
NTA has not done much. The other NTAs and whatever, they have not done pretty
Radio
much.
Nigeria.
They have done much. They have not done much. You need to let the people know the truth about all of these things. Convert your news to the language that people will understand. Send information to the mosque. Send information to the churches. Let them know that what these people are peddling about are mere rumors and they are not founded. They are not in the agreement that we signed.
I am really, really, really very well informed, and I can't thank you enough for the very, very comprehensive analysis of the Samoa agreement that you have actually made available to our teaming viewers out there. Of course, what we do on this program is balancing. We balance issues. Yeah, there's news out there that LGBT and the transgender thing has been incorporated in that agreement. But here you are giving us the full account of what federal government did rightly in terms of signature, and then what they need to do much more in terms of letting Nigerians have a full view of what they have just signed. Thank you very much for your very well informed submission on this program.
Thank you so much.
It can't be less because we're talking to a PhD holder and a senior advocate of Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Adekunle Ojo, former Vice President, Nigerian Bar Association.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your thoughts and your submissions. So that's our first segment on the program. This week we'll be transiting to the second segment. Of course, what we do there. I mean, letting you know what the current administration in Lagos State, that's led by Governor Sanwo-Olu, is actually doing to bring quality life to Lagosians. That's our package today. Next week is another day when I'll be joined by Jumoke. Till then, bye-bye.